Good morning, you guys. Thank you so much for being here. Helen, everybody, it's wonderful to see my neighborhood out. It's going to be a beautiful Mother's Day weekend. I'm going to keep things short and sweet today. We have really amazing presentations from Run KC and the Kansas City Public Library about what are some events that could be transpiring in our neighborhood. Thank you. It's warm in here. This is probably one of the biggest crowds we've seen in a while. So I like to shake things up on the board. We had about 40% board turnover for Waldo Tower Neighborhood Association after our last election. And there is so much talent on this board. We have amazing leadership in the back. We've got Angie, Lenny, Elizabeth is here, Frank is here. We've got really great leadership on the front as well. I am your Neighborhood Association volunteer president. My name is Emily Lord. If you ever need anything, you got any questions, please feel free to reach out to me. And then we also have our vice president, who is new to this position, relatively new to doing neighborhood work. So normally I would give you like an introduction, try to inspire you in some way and encourage you, to keep doing all the good neighborhood work that you're doing. But today I'm going to turn it over to Joe. So I would like to introduce our vice president, Joe Bianco. Yeah. There you are.
Thank you, Emily.
Yeah, you're welcome, Joe.
Good morning.
Good morning.
I'm Joe, just Joe Bianco. I'm a lifelong resident of Waldo in the Kansas City area. And I would like you, I'm hard of hearing. It had something happen to me when I was a kid, so I'm kind of hard of hearing. So I would like for you to all say, "Where's Waldo?" really loud.
Where's Waldo?
One more time.
Where's Waldo?
That is terrific. Okay, where is Waldo? All right, right here in Kansas City. It's the heart of Kansas City, of our great country, okay? Full of friends, family, multiple faiths. And I've been a part of it my whole life, and so have all of you. And today, we're going to get to hear from two different proposals at a place that's been vacant in our neighborhood for 20 years. So this is an open dialogue, and we'll get more stuff, keep the momentum going, because we all, as doing in this position, I want to get more people involved and get more people wanting, because there's so much talent. Waldo, I went to a cohort course through Center for Neighborhoods, and our neighborhood stands out, and we can do a lot even more in our neighborhood and other neighborhoods in Kansas City. And I know Emily Foster Lord feels the same way about it. So without further ado, I would like to, do I introduce them? Okay. I would like to introduce the two speakers for possible proposals for the Bingham site at 77th and Wyandotte. And the first one, I got to get this correct because I don't want to mess up titles, is Joel Jones. He goes to my church. He's a hell of a guy. He's Deputy Director of the Library Services for the Kansas City Libraries. And he's going to talk about a proposal for the future of development of the libraries for Kansas City and at the Bingham site. And all of us enjoy libraries. The second proposal is by Sybil Orman, and she represents the Kansas City Track Club and Community Center. And she'll tell you, there's a lot to that, more so than meets the eye. And I tell you, growing up, I ran on the streets, and I still had a successful track career, and I wish I would have had something like that in the neighborhood. And I coached a parochial track league for 20 years. We were up at Southwest. Everybody knows how crappy Southwest is. And I could go on and on and on. But anyway, two great proposals. Let's get it on. Let's get it going. Let's keep the momentum going. And should I go ahead and
You can go ahead
and here is Joel. All right.
Frank, do I need to put this on?
That's it.
Hold it all up. Thank you, Joe. Appreciate it. I'm Joel Jones, Deputy that title. They gave me that title because I used to be a branch manager. At the turn of the century, I was the branch manager here at Waldo, and then moved from here to the new Plaza Library that was opened then, and then they took me downtown, gave me a fancy title, and now I oversee the branches, the central library, a lot of stuff in libraries that they give to you when you've worked there for 31 years. So I am not a current Waldo resident, but I am a long-time Waldo resident. My wife and I moved out to Waldo South a couple of years ago to Redbridge. I always say Waldo is a state of mind. It's not really a location. It's only 8 minutes from my house to the corner cocktail. So it's not that far away. So what I'm here today is talk about, y'all have to correct it. We don't have a proposal for the Bingham site. What I'm here to do is talk about our library's comprehensive facilities plan that we just completed this spring over the winter, which is for the entire library system, and what it sets up of what we can do specifically for the Waldo Library. So I'll go through that, and along the way I'll talk a little bit about this site where we're standing right now, and a little bit about the Bingham site and potential and what we've got. You can see the entire plan online. Here it is. Here it is, the entire plan. I've read it a couple of times. It sits on my desk downtown in my office. It establishes, and what we did is we hired an architecture firm, a firm called MSR Design out of Minneapolis, and they are an experienced architect in doing this kind of work for libraries. They've done designed libraries, they've done comprehensive facilities plans for libraries all over the country. That's why we chose them. They did have local partners. Their local partners were architecture firm called Dake Wells, fantastic firm, fantastic engagement. J.E. Dunn Construction was involved in that. I think we're all familiar with J.E. Dunn. They helped with some of the cost estimates and the measurements. And then another local company, Sophic Solutions, which is a public engagement company. So it was even though the firm was from Minneapolis, there was a lot of local folks involved. And you can see this plan on our website at kclibrary.org. And if you want to pull it up and read all that, please do. What I want to talk about next is what a comprehensive facilities plan is and is not. What the comprehensive facilities plan is, I'm not going to read all of this, it's a short and long-term guide for capital improvements for the entire library system. We did an analysis of our facilities and our performance data. It's a flexible roadmap for the entire system. It is a 10-year plan. And it's important here at the bottom, it's a statement of our entire system needs for services, for physical, for building maintenance, and all those kind of things. What it is not, it's not a design document. We don't have any designs in here for any particular library. There's no dictated sequence. It proposes to touch almost all but one of our buildings and add another building. But it doesn't tell us what order to do those in. It's not a final funding commitment. I'll talk a little bit about funding in a little bit. It's the end of the planning process and a static set of recommendations. It's what we think the library, what can occur to our facilities over the next 10 years as they look today. So that's an important thing. I don't have any architectural plans for this building. Those have not been created yet. When we get to that point of deciding what to do with this building, we will come to the community, and there'll be lots of meetings in this building. There'll be focus groups to talk about how best to change this building, create a library, move this library, whatever our final decision is. We did a lot of public engagement in this process. We had 45 local organizations involved. We had public sessions. We had 231 community conversations, and 4,788 community survey responses. We had a goal to beat Omaha, who had 5,000. We didn't get there. We didn't get there. Omaha, I don't know why they did better. But that's the important thing is we really did, when we came up with this plan, we really did engage with the community. It was, we went to grocery stores in the community and tabled at grocery stores. So we were in all of our branches. We sat down with teen groups. We sat down with groups that serve the immigrant community, all kinds of groups to kind of get the information about the facilities plan and also our strategic plan that we completed during this same process. So what did we use? In addition to the input from the community, we used data. This is an example of the data that we used, not the full data. On the left is our library use data, our circulation, how many books that we checked out. What's our gate count? How many people come through our doors? How many people use our computers? How many people attend meetings in our facilities? We used that data, and we also used demographic data. We have a tool that the Mid-America Regional Council worked with us a few years ago to create, which is called Library Views, where it takes census information, demographic information, and our library use information to create, to give us a tool to look at how our libraries are used and what we need to do to make them better. Two things that we have in that tool is the needs index. You can see here coded the needs index based on income level and education level, access to transportation, who owns cars, age, all kinds of things that go into that to create a needs index. And that's called, oh, thank you. That's coded, you can see in our district where the higher needs are and where the lower needs are. We also have what's called a patron attraction score. This goes census tract by census tract and tells us what percentage or how many people in that census tract visit the library, visit any of our libraries, or connect to us online. So we use this data to help inform this study. The other thing I want to talk about specific to Waldo, the other thing is that we observed the buildings. We took the architects on a tour of all our buildings. I always tell the story at our building downtown in the old First National Bank building. I went through some of the parts, and that's a building that's over 100 years old. I went into places in that building I had never been before. Some things that were under the city sidewalks and some loading docks areas that I had never been in before. And I was kind of amazed at the condition and concerned about the condition of those spaces. The other thing specific to Waldo is back in 2022 and 2023, we hired a real estate consultant and an architect consultant to take a closer look at what can happen with the Waldo Library. We looked at potential places in the Waldo neighborhood of where we could put another library. We looked at a lot of pieces of property between 85th and Gregory and State Line and Troost of potential places to place a library. We also looked at this space too, and what could happen on this space. And that information was given to MSR Design, and they incorporated that into their findings about not just the Waldo Library, but the entire system. So I wanted to make sure that you were aware of that. That we have done some work, and we did do a bit of a deep dive on the Bingham property with the school district and what could potentially happen there. Overall, what we've determined about our spaces is that every library, this is the map of our library. This is where we currently are. That's what the plan proposals. We have Kansas City Public Library. This is the district. For some of you who are not familiar, our district boundaries, if you recognize that map, is the original map, the original district of the Kansas City Public School System. Before, they sliced off Independence and gave that to the Independence School District. We still cover the western side of Independence and Sugar Creek. So we do have a branch, Trails West branch, which is Independence, and a Sugar Creek branch, which is a little tiny branch in Sugar Creek, Missouri. So we are not all of Kansas City. We're not all of Jackson County. We're not all of the Missouri side. Of course, in Kansas, that's the Johnson County Library. Surrounding us, south of 85th Street, in this area out here, that's the Mid-Continent Public Library System. That's a huge system with over 40 branches that covers Platte, Jackson, and Clay County in the suburbs and part of Kansas City. Where I live, the Red Bridge Library, that is the Mid-Continent Public Library. So we are a very small district geographically. I like to say that we are the small library system with a big name because we are the Kansas City Public Library. But our service area it encompasses the urban core of Kansas City, parts of Independence, and parts of Sugar Creek. So quickly about what this study told us about the types of libraries. Down here in the corner, you see a B, and a C. C is our central library downtown. That's considered a cultural hub. Lots of things going on in that building. There's exhibit space. There's an auditorium. It's a huge 150,000 square foot library. Going back to most of our libraries are A libraries. They're neighborhood libraries. This is the neighborhood library. It has a meeting room this size. It's got some space for library collections, some small teen areas, some small children's areas. Most of these are A libraries. The B library is a community library. Go back, go forward. Our Plaza Library right now is considered a community library. A little larger. It has a big auditorium, and it's got some larger meeting rooms. It's a much bigger. It's 35,000 square feet, and this is 14, so it's almost twice as big. So it's important to kind of what we learned of how to define our library spaces. What the plan is telling us and proposing to us is we need a couple of more cultural hubs. Our central library is a cultural hub. We think Plaza Library is not quite a cultural hub. There's some things we need to do there to make it a more of a destination library for the whole region. Oops. And on our east side at 31st and Prospect, where our Lucille Bluford Library branch is, which is exactly like this building. It's the same size as this building. And it is the third busiest building in our system. Some days it's the busiest building in the system, where we get up to 1,000 people come through the doors of our Bluford Library every day. And it is this size. And this plan is telling us we need to make that building on the east side a cultural hub that has larger meeting rooms, maybe an auditorium space, exhibit space, partner space. Very important for this community and for our library to do something at that location. For Waldo, I don't get into that. The pros you'll see AB. We're a neighborhood library now. The plan proposals that we should be a better neighborhood library or a little bit larger community library. Here's what I can tell you know about the Waldo Library right now. This is the library service area down here in blue. Yes, we have a lot of users who come from west of State Line and south of 85th. They're not library district residents. We love them to come. Our focus, and we serve them, our focus is in our district and the people who use this building. And we come up, that service area is determined by data that tells us this is the parts of this neighborhood that the people live that come and use this building in person. From State Line to, that's even past Highway 71, I believe, how far east we see users that come to this building. So it is a beyond Waldo library in all four directions. 14,000 square feet. The collection size of our books in here is about 40,000. Circulation. This is a library that checks out physical books. A lot of them. 138,000 every year. Have those numbers gone down in the last 10 years? Yes. Has the collection size gone down in the last 10 years? Yes. And the reason that our circulation numbers are what are half and our collection size is half is because of something called e-books. E-books. More than half our book circulation in our library is electronic books. But people still come into our buildings to check out books, especially children's books, especially teen books. And that will always be the case in the library. But what that tells us is we can reuse the space in our libraries, and we've already done that by shrinking the footprint that's required for books and using it for other spaces. Library assessment, more data, visits per square foot, annual circulation, program attendance, meeting room usage are all above average, above the median for the rest of the library system. Computer use is a little bit above the median for the library. We have a lot of computer use here. We have a lot of computer use at our other libraries too. Interesting, we have public phones. Everybody in here is old enough to remember when there were pay phones everywhere. So when the payphones came out of the library, we still had a lot of individuals in our community who needed access to a free phone or a phone because they don't have a cell phone. They can't afford a cell phone. So a few years ago, we came up with it. We started putting free use regular telephones in all of our locations. We have one here. It's not as used as much at our other branches, but it's still a very needed and vital service for the people who don't have access to a phone. Here are the challenges. This is such small print. This building was opened in 1988, before the internet, before computers. We built, between 1988 and 1995, Kansas City Public Libraries built 5 buildings exactly like this. There's not a right angle in that building. I'm not an architect, but I did pass geometry in high school. I could use some right angles in the building. The building's too small. This room is too small. We would like to have some pre-function space. So when this meeting is over and you all go out in the library to talk, you've got some space to do that rather than doing it out in the library. There are some structural concerns. We have water that seeps up. Building's not going to collapse anytime soon. But when it rains, it kind of gets wet over in the children's area. We need more storage space. We need more community room space. There's lots of needs for this building because it's well used and it's well loved. Oh. What this plan tells us what we could possibly do with the Waldo Library. One, it proposes that we can build a 21,000 square foot building right here where we're sitting right now. Look at that lovely rectangle building with 4 right angles. Right angles are your friends, people. So what that would allow us to do is to expand, add about 7,000 square feet to this building, have a larger community room space, have a larger children's area, a larger teen area, more space for our staff. They're cramped back in there. There's a room over here that used to be called the Electronic Center that now we use for staff workspace for collections and staff. When I worked here, there were some computers in the Electronic Center. Probably when that was built, the electronics that were in there were probably a typewriter and maybe a VCR. They probably had VCRs in 1988. Those were the electronics, and then it became a computer room. And now, because we've been able to shrink our side that we need for our collections, we've turned that into staff space. None of it works very well. None of it works very well. So this is what we could do in this building: is at this location, maintain the parking lot, remove this building, and build a new building right here on this property. We would have to. I know this question may come up. We don't have to buy any property next door, and we would never do that. People ask me, would you buy houses next door? No. Housing is important in this community. People live in those houses. We would never consider doing that. And this is good news. This is good news to us because it's always been a concern of ours that can we build a bigger library here? Can we build a bigger library here without adding a second story? Adding a second story is just more expensive. You have to have an elevator. You have to have more service points. And so this is one of the proposals. The other proposal that this tells us is to build what's the square foot? A 30,000 square foot library in the Waldo neighborhood on another site. We don't have we are not naming a specific site. Um, the consulting firm considered there are sites in the Waldo area that we could put a library in, including the Bingham site, but there are other sites possible too. So as we go to our next steps and we decide primarily how we're going to pay for this and finance all this and what our priorities are, we're going to keep this as a consideration that we could build another branch, a branch here on another site in Waldo. And that would give us more space, larger meeting room, outdoor space. All of our libraries, that they tell us we need to have an outdoor programming space because that's what the community wants. Community gardens, place for story times outside. That would create, if we went to another location and built a little bit bigger branch, we'd be able to do those things. We may be, if we had a larger building, we'd be able to put in a digital media center or a maker space if we did that. So you want to turn the lights back on because I need to read my notes here so I ask these questions right. What is this going to cost? Does anybody have that question? Okay, so cost is cost. If and it's all in here. You can go online and look at this. In $28 for us to build a building right here, $15 million. To go to a different site, build a bigger building, $24 million. No, that's fine. Build another new building, $24 million. And those are $28. Who knows where inflation will take us after that. How much does this whole thing cost us for us to build or remodel or renovate all 10 of our locations, build a new branch? If you go back at that map, there's a proposal to build a new branch on the east side in a much needed area. And also to build what we call an operations and mobile services center. In 2018, the voters of the Kansas City Public Library District at 83%, yes, voted to increase your property tax mill levy for operational improvements with the library. 83%. We were overwhelmed with that. We were hoping for 55%. And two primary areas where we spent that money that are most noticeable is we remodeled, completely renovated our Northeast Library, which is up off Independence Avenue. That building is just like this building, same era, same crazy angles. We were able to add about 1,000 square feet. Yes? I want to give us an opportunity. I'm going too long. Okay. So if you're full, does anybody have any questions for Joel? I got 1 minute. One thing. Okay. 1 minute. Total cost to this. I know. Total cost to this, if we are implemented, would be between $159 million and $193 million. Our next phase in this is to do a feasibility study that we hope to have completed by the end of this calendar year to figure out what's the best way to fund that, whether it is bonds, absolutely philanthropic money. We don't build things at the Kansas City Public Library without going to our philanthropic money and getting significant contributions for it. That's the next step in this process, is to do a feasibility study to figure out how to pay for all of these things. 2 questions?
I have one question. If they go with a new building, what happens with this building? Will it just sit here empty?
That's a very good question. And we could use this building. We could sell this property. We could use this building. We need storage space. One of the things we also need to build a new operations center for our bookmobiles. We could do that here. This isn't the best site for that. But that would be part of that conversation of what would we do with this building. So don't have an answer to that, but we've thought about that. I saw a hand over here. Is there another hand? Is there else have a question?
Nobody?
Oh, you're an easy crowd.
All right. I like this.
Oh, there's one.
There's one.
End of the calendar year.
End of the sorry. Okay,
yeah,
thank you.
yeah. knock on wood. So, yeah. Here?
If you built it in this site, how long would this site be closed before we have a library?
This is a good question. Probably a year and a half to 2 years. And we would do a temporary location. We absolutely would. When we did the Northeast Library, they were closed for almost a year, and we went to a storefront nearby for a temporary location. Also, we did that in COVID, and we were closed for a long time too during COVID. But we would certainly provide a temporary location within this area to operate, because this is too busy of a library not to do that. So.
All right, guys. Anybody else? Yeah, thank you, Joel. Thank you so much for being here. Sybil, the floor is yours.
Oh, good. I'm taking these back.
Made Alexandra up here, who is also the architect and IT expert, which is not me. So I'll let her set up really quick. Firstly, I would like to say thank you. I really appreciate Waldo Towers Neighborhood Association for allowing me to come and to speak and to share what I feel is a very powerful vision, especially for a lot of you in the room. I recognize a lot of community leaders that, for example, Jeremy Hammer's in the back. He has a Waldo business. He is a run coach. I have my friend Mallory Robbins, who also is a Girl Scout troop leader with me, who now has a new business here in Waldo as well. I just want to thank you all. We have Reed Buchanan in the back, who I don't know if you know, but he is elevating the run scene in Kansas City, and he lives right next to this Waldo branch. We are basically surrounded by the neatest, coolest people. Chad, I know he is running for city council in Waldo. This is an amazing group. This is an amazing community, and I want to uplift it. So firstly, as she's getting this set up, my concept and vision is called the Kansas City Track League and Community Center. I guess I'll first start while she's pulling everything up. Yeah, go ahead. I'll start with Alexandra's animation for what we view. If you don't mind the lights, and is it up there? Right, there we go. We're trying to see which. It's
hard to see.
There we go. Here's just a brief visual.
We've got a little bit of eye candy here, so we're just going to let this play and let you guys ooh and ah, and then we'll get it into the presentation.
We are specifically looking at the Bingham site. It's as if it has been sitting there waiting for us.
We would be directly connected to the Waldo neighborhoods and to the trolley track itself.
I think the most special part of this design and idea is that it connects to the trolley trail, which is already utilized there. It just creates an extension, a necessary one.
Our concept would be to actually have a connection to the trolley trail itself on the northwest side of part of the site. So if you're running on the trolley trail, oh yeah, you can come here as you're running on the trolley trail. dig into the architecture a little bit more, but if you guys know Meadowbrook Park, the architecture of the community center will represent that. It'll be very similar in terms of design, but I'll let Sybil dig into more what the site's about.
So basically, we're trying to connect several groups in the community. I'm sorry. I don't feel... Okay, I'm sorry. Can you hear me now? Okay, so here we go. Let's hop on into the presentation. She's just having a little hard time centering it. There we go. Okay, so Kansas City Track League. Firstly, I'd like to introduce myself. My name is Sybil Orman. I have lived in the Kansas City metro area my entire life. I received my bachelor's and master's degree in education from the University of Kansas. And for years, I taught Spanish and English to speakers of other languages at Turner High School in Kansas City, Kansas. My professional career shifted when I achieved my greatest role of becoming mother to my 3 children. My husband, Greg, is here today, and I have been lucky to work beside him through political, philanthropic, and entrepreneurial endeavors. He has just demonstrated through the work he has done that when you see a need, you try to find a way to assist, to help, and to improve, which brings me in front of you today. I am many things: a Girl Scout troop leader, elementary school cross-country coach, avid sourdough baker, crafter, gardener, and a beekeeper as of tomorrow. But for the past 2 decades of my life, being a runner has defined me. I wasn't a runner in high school. In fact, I assume that no one in my graduating class would have guessed I'd become the woman who spends her time and thousands of miles running around KC, many miles right out there on the trolley trail. Running has been the ultimate gift. It has brought me the best people into my life. It has taken me around the world. It has taught me goal setting, patience, perseverance, and immeasurable gratitude. And more objective measures: my heart is in good shape. My blood pressure is in a nice spot. I have a healthier relationship with food and fueling. And most importantly, I can still keep up with my 3 children and a very large group of 3rd through 5th graders who would like to beat me in a race. Not yet. So that is just a little bit about me. For all that running has done for me, and a time when people feel less connected than ever, I would love to give my community a connection point, a place to belong, a location to gather, pursue goals, and become the best versions of themselves together. Today, I propose a Kansas City Track League and Community Center to be built on the Bingham site. So although KCTL, Kansas City Track League, would impact so many more than runners, it would undoubtedly create a much-needed space for the expanding running community. Runners represent a larger population both nationally and locally. It is estimated to roughly 15% of the population. Applying this participation rate to the KC metro area equates to over 300,000 hobby joggers, runners, and those obsessively training like myself. Roughly 9,500 people participated in the 2025 Garmin Marathon, half, 10K, and 5K. 4,000 in the trolley run here. 3,000 in the Hospital Hill Run. Thousands of Kansas Cityans participate in numerous running organizations throughout the city. Here is just a brief list. There's more, and there's more popping up every day. In fact, just this week, I saw an Instagram post about a new run club in Waldo that's starting. So there's the Kansas City Running Club, Runner's Edge, KC Smoke, KC Endurance, Run 816, 913 Run Club. We also had the Heartland Speed Project. I believe there's some members of that here that's also trying to elevate the very vibrant running scene that is in Waldo in the Kansas City area. You probably don't know, but every weekend, during the week, these people that run these clubs are keeping our community fabric close together and motivated. Go ahead and click. Here are some of the people that need a home, and running and the Bingham site could be that for them. that was actually a picture of Kansas Run Club. Randy Taylor is here, if you don't mind standing up. He is in charge of Team 816. Could you give a brief, how many members do you have? And how do you think maybe this could be beneficial for you?
Yeah, so I lead not the Kansas Run Club, but that photo before 816 Run Club, and we have probably 350 members, but people pop in all the time. So it's even a broader group than that. And one of the biggest challenges we have as runners is, particularly with track space and that sort of thing, is there's just in Kansas City proper, there's not really tracks that are available for us. So this project would help provide not only space for the runners and the community to gather, but also teaching space and all that. I'm sure you'll get into more of that, but
Yes.
yeah, I mean, and I'm just one of many groups that are that size around the city.
And then the next runner, which is our run coach / everything else in the world. She's amazing. This is Coach Mary Payne. She's in charge of Kansas Run Club. She's also a coach. And will you talk about how maybe this would help you in some events you do that aren't necessarily just running based, like Run Her Way?
Yes. So my name is Mary Payne. Hi, everyone. I was co-founder of Kansas Run Club 3 years ago. We started out south at REI. We probably had 3 of us show up for weeks and weeks and months until we moved downtown. Once we moved downtown, we saw the demographic change and the number of runners that showed up change. We maxed out, I think one day, our biggest Wednesdays, we run every Wednesday night. Our biggest run, I think we had almost 650 runners run together. And meeting at Mill Creek Park is kind of insane and traffic is crazy, but we quite often use Trolley Trail. We jump on Trolley Trail, and it's usually the safest route because it avoids the roads and cars. But from Kansas Run Club, we started a group called Run Her Way, which gives women access to run together. And our biggest question with Run Her Way every single time we host it quarterly is, where are we hosting? What space are we using? Where are we going to meet? Who's paying for it? Who's sponsoring it? And it's all the questions of where are we meeting? What's safe? What's available? And so Kansas Run Club is so excited for this. It's kind of on everyone's heart, and I think it would be an amazing space. But yeah, we do a ton of stuff, ton of runners, and it'll be awesome.
Thank you. Thanks, Mary. You'll be next, so I'll just keep that with you. If you don't mind clicking through. So she is not able to be here today. Jay, she is also a coach. She coaches at Grandview, cross country and track. And she has started Run It Black, which meets off of Truce at Ruby Jeans. She's not here today, or she would be speaking to you, but she is having her 2nd anniversary where they are having a very big community party. And she has shown and talked to me and collaborated with me on ways this could be important for her run group. They do not have a track to run on. Most people probably in this room, when you do use a track, you go over to Johnson County, you go to Shawnee Mission East, you dodge lacrosse balls being thrown at or hit at your head, and the school band in the morning. And it's really not feasible for a lot of these runners to make it that way. The greatest part to me, besides the easy foot traffic access, the trolley trail, is there's a bus stop right outside of the Bingham site, which could be a great way for any community member to get there. Okay, so speaking of that, we'll continue on. But what if you're not a runner? What if you don't actually have any desire to work with a coach and train at all? That's great. Maybe you need a safe space to walk. Maybe, and you'll see later in the designs of the building, you would like to connect in a garden space. In the center of the track, there is a very large green space. Maybe this could be a place where you can contribute to your community. I know there's a lot of apartments being built. Maybe you would like to have access to a community garden. There's those types of participation that could be done at KCTL as well. Also, it's a community center. Not a super huge one that we have planned, about a little bit more or less than 10,000 square feet, but a place where we could host events, where we could gather, where we could have teaching areas where we've already in the plan have designs for teaching kitchens. And I'll dive into those a little bit more. I also see this as an asset for the community, not as competition for the community. I view potential collaboration with local businesses for workshops, gathering spaces for their meetings, partnerships with local restaurants, coffee shops, and eventually we'll touch on events that could be held there and how the businesses around the track could be elevated as well and included. Go ahead. Okay, so here's the proposed site plan. There was a handout because I know it's hard to see. I'll just highlight some what I feel are key features. We would include a parking lot. This would be the community center building. Within the community center building, there would be a small childcare area. It is great to run with a double stroller, but in my training, I didn't always want to. And so there included is a childcare area modeled after a community center I participate in, which is the Jewish Community Center in Overland Park, where you can drop your kid in for an hour and a half, get your workout done, and come back and pick up your child. Number 17 is a playground for such things. When I read the community meeting minutes for the last year about the Bingham site, it was very important to a lot of members in the community to have green space. And I couldn't agree more. To me, the concept is a health and wellness concept. It's centered and focused around running because there's a big track there. But what do runners and healthy humans need is they need to know how to fuel themselves. They need to know how to work, feed themselves. And to me, gardening has become such a key part of my life. I would like to be able to extend that to everyone. There are some partnerships that I envision as well. I don't know if you've heard of Boys Grow, but as soon as this becomes not a hypothetical and more of a reality, I would like to go to Boys Grow. They work with the KCPS school district and teaching kids how, especially in the urban community and especially boys, how to cultivate the land, market their goods. And I just think it could be something really magical that nowhere in the world has. Go ahead. And just a brief overview. I think runners, for the most part, will be most excited about the fact that there are bathrooms and there is a locker room. So no longer do you have to go and shower elsewhere or not shower. You can shower where you work out. You want to click to the next slide? So I'm sorry, it's a little bit difficult to see. This is Alexandra. She owns her own architectural firm, which is Emerald Hive Design. She's the one that created all of these beautiful images. Do you have anything you'd like to say?
So to speak very quickly, I know we're running out of time, about the community center. This would be a place where everyone could come together, the entire neighborhood, not just runners. So we would have obviously a main central atrium where people can come. You could even bring your books from the Waldo Library and read them. We've talked about maybe making a partnership with the Waldo Library that they could keep some books here, especially in the children's area. We've got a community cafe where you can come and grab some smoothies and coffee, maybe some water or Gatorade after your run. We envision having offices here that we can rent out to maybe coaches or PTs or people that are interested in the health and wellness community. We have a very large event space that can be collapsible into smaller rooms for conferences and other meetings for the neighborhood. We have a large children's area, a teaching kitchen, full built-out lockers, and a second floor that will look out over the track with additional meeting space.
I envision the event space. In particular, we have Garmin here, and Garmin does take on, they have professional runners that they sponsor, and a lot of those professional runners write books. And in cities like Chicago, New York, they have places for them to do book signings and talks. Kansas City should be that too. And I'll dive in more about the national aspect of it in a minute.
Often when people come to do book sightings, they do a feature run afterwards. So what greater way than to run at the track and then run
And then trolley.
and show off the neighborhood.
So the gardens in the middle of the track at the KCTL site can become a living classroom, community hub, and neighborhood beautification project. Partnering with local nonprofits ensures the gardens are well-designed, sustainable, and engaging for residents and students. KCTL becomes a dual-use community and educational hub. The gardens provide hands-on learning for KCPS and other local students, community wellness, and engagement opportunities. The track, it also helps the track become more than an athletic venue. It's a year-round destination for both fitness and learning, drawing families, students, and visitors from across Kansas City. So daily life at the track, I think I have time just so I can tell you in my mind, this is what the daily life at the track would be like. Daily life at a public track would be vibrant. A community center with a communal garden unfolds as a steady, welcoming rhythm that changes with the time of the day, the seasons, and the people who pass through. Early morning is quiet and purposeful. Runners and walkers circle the track as the sun comes up, some alone with headphones, others chatting in pairs. Older adults have often arrive early, moving at a gentler pace, stretching together or greeting familiar faces. Clubs congregate at their designated times to start their group workouts, heading out onto the trolley trail for their warm-up. In the garden, a few dedicated volunteers water beds, check seedlings, or prepare materials for the day while enjoying the calm, listening to runners' steps circle the track. Late morning to early afternoon brings a social energy. Parents check their children into the drop-in daycare before they use the track. Community members stop by the center for classes, meetings, or services, and gardeners tend their plots, pulling weeds, tying up tomato vines, or sharing tips from across rows. People pause to talk, organize produce for a sale, center use or charitable giving, or sit nearby to rest. The community center hums with activity, fitness classes, workshops, youth programs, or seniors gathering for games and conversation. Afternoons often belong to young people. Students arrive after school to run, play, or train around the track. Some help in the garden as part of a school or volunteer program, learning how food grows and working side by side with adults from the neighborhood. This space feels lively, with laughter, movement, and casual interaction between generations. Early evening is one of the busiest times. Working adults come to exercise on the track, attend classes, or unwind after the day. Parents run on the track with a coach or friends, while their children play on the supervised outdoor playground. Gardeners stop by to harvest vegetables for community dinners, walk amongst the green space, and community center members gather. The community center may host events, support groups, or cultural activities, drawing people who might not otherwise cross paths. As night approaches, activity gradually slows. A few walkers finish their last laps, gardeners secure tools, and lights from the center glow softly as evening programs wrap up. The space settles back into quiet, ready to begin the cycle again the next day. Overall, daily life here is defined by shared use and connection, movement alongside rest, work alongside conversation, and individuals become part of a familiar, supportive community through repeated, everyday interactions. And that is what I see this becoming for Waldo. This is just why I think there is no other location better than right off the trolley trail, and we'll go ahead so you don't have time. And then one aspect that I have briefly mentioned was I truly believe that this can become a national destination. Here we have a picture of Anna. She is in the audience. Anna is an elite runner living in Kansas City. And she traveled last summer to Minnesota to participate in Tracksmith's Twilight 5000 series, where they have a 5K on a track. They include all paces in this 5K. And a lot of adults still love competition. Well, this year they announced that they're going to have the Twilight 5000 in New York, Boston, and London. And I see the Bingham site becoming the next possible place for brands that do this type of thing here in Kansas City. And I think we're about out of time, so thank you. Yeah, we can skip it.
There are a lot of questions from our
community
members. I'm going to grab a microphone real quick. All right, so who has questions? I see a hand over here.
Lots of questions.
Lots of questions.
Hi. So what's your funding source, not only to, I guess, maybe purchase the property and build it, but also long-term maintenance, cleaning, staffing, childcare, you know?
So first off, we do have to talk to KCPS and talk to them about negotiations. The building itself we have 12 to 14 million. A lot of it would come from charitable contributions. We do hope to have a small membership fee just so everyone feels like they have a stake. Also makes attendance better if they pay something a month. But we want to do that that's fair for all. So maybe there's some scholarship opportunities for those that cannot pay to attend. Bank financing. And I will be going to the community for sponsorships, such as Garmin is who I would be going to, and others. Greg, do you have anything you want to add to that part of the financial aspect for me?
No, I mean, I think you got it right. There is obviously an upfront capital cost that will largely be financed through charitable contributions, sponsorships, and ultimately there probably will be a little bank financing, and then ongoing maintenance will be part of a sort of a broad revenue plan that would include membership fees, would include rentals from office space, etc., would include event fees, sponsorships, and frankly, we've got a financial model that sort of has 8 or 10 different areas where we'll be able to bring in revenues and ultimately pay for the upkeep.
Yep, over here.
Okay, are you going to actually have any programs for seniors? It doesn't say anything. You mentioned seniors once. Your flyer mentions youth 4 times, childcare once, school once, all ages twice. Seniors are not in there.
To me, seniors are an integral part of the community. So although they may not be in there, in my mind, they are. So programming hasn't been exactly established, but to me, I think that's something that I need to investigate with people who want to use the facility. Would they like walking programs? Seniors can run as well. So I was like, that is something that I would definitely. Oh, that is so not true. There was an 80-year-old finished a London Marathon.
A lot of them choose not to.
They can choose not to, yes.
But a lot of them, their exercise level is not going to be the same as a lot of the people sitting in here.
All right, we've got
Very
this
true.
question.
Talk very loud.
Okay.
My question is this. You have a building, you say there's like facilities in it.
Correct.
Okay, you said there was a shower.
Yes.
Unfortunately, one of the first things I thought about was the people in Waldo who need to shower the most don't have homes.
Correct.
And what's going to happen. But then I thought, I want to redo a bathroom. Am I going to be able to come down to your community center and take a shower for 2 days while my bathroom's being redone? How really open is what you're talking about to the community?
That's a very good
Or do I have to
question.
be a member of a running club?
I think that's a very good question, and it sort of depends on the funding that we secure and negotiations that we have with the city and Waldo. For me, this would be a gated, because we have to, there is a slide on here. Safety is important, especially for people using it at 6 a.m. in the dark. So it would be a gated community. There would be controlled access. So it wouldn't be as in, I can walk up to the door and come right in, because that's not me as a female runner. That isn't safe for me. Right. So there would be security measures in place. And so people that do need a shower, and they're not a member, that's something we'd have to talk about in the future. But I can't see somebody just walking with their towel and just strolling right in for my safety, if that makes sense.
Over here.
Just want to say thank you guys for putting this together. You've obviously put a ton of effort and thought in this and what it could be for our community. So thank you. I also heard you say at the beginning that, you know, you saw a need in the community, and this is what you've developed from that. So I have that same mindset, and I think a lot of people in Waldo do. We look at the needs of not only for ourselves, but for our community more broadly. And I would just say the last time we came together with KCPS, they asked us, you know, the types of things that we would like to see for that space. And it sounds like you reviewed some of that data. I just want to say I attended the Kansas City housing community meetings about a week ago. And to your point, there are people that don't have houses. There's a housing shortage for affordable housing in our community. And that was one of the things that was brought up for teachers was housing. I would personally like to see the community spaces that we have, the resources that we have, go to meeting what I think are more urgent needs than this. I also think about the community. I am on a board of a dog rescue. I volunteer at the shelter. We have dogs in this community. There are people who are not able to walk their dogs, either for safety or because they're disabled, etc. We're using Southwest High School right now as a makeshift dog park. Those are things that I think are, and we're spending $7.8 million to shelter animals because people can't exercise them or don't have housing, etc. So for me, while I applaud the effort here, and I just think there are things that could be better utilized with this space. Thank you.
Guys, we've got about 5 minutes.
I'll stay after too if you
Yeah,
want
we're
to
going to
ask
ask
questions.
all of our speakers to stay after. So even if we adjourn the meeting and you have additional questions, you can always reach out.
I think it's important to clarify too that they have not had those conversations yet with KCPS.
Yes, that was going to be my question.
There will be plenty of meetings. I'm sure KCPS would also bring this to us if this was an actual, like once it's
Yes.
got through to that point.
Yeah.
So I think there's going to be lots of opportunity to provide feedback to KCPS what we want for that property when the time comes. So
Yeah, this is not a
just one
definite,
of
it's a
many
proposal.
possible things that could happen.
Perfect. Thank you. Right here.
I won't do that. So, just so that I'm clear, this is a private enterprise, pretty much on the same idea as like Planet Fitness,
No.
where it's privately owned and there's a membership fee. You're not tied in with the county Parks and Rec as a county community center.
So I have set up a nonprofit in Missouri. So I was envisioning this more of as a Y, as set up as a YMCA. This is not something, I'm not a Planet Fitness. I do not want to be a Planet Fitness. This is a community, in my mind, place, but there is a membership, a small membership fee, basically to continue it, to make it a space that we all want to be at. I'm not taking tax dollars, if that is one of your questions.
Yeah.
All right.
Is it a possibility that you would be able to tie this in with?
I would definitely talk to them. I would definitely talk to them if they have the capacity to do that. I'm not
Sybil,
sure
we've got
they
a couple
do.
questions back here.
Yeah.
We'll go to Tiffany.
In your conversations or endeavors to partner with KCPS, have you considered looking into the Southwest High School site and the development of that entire site that they're looking to do? So specifically, there is a philanthropic component to the full development of the Southwest High School site for the middle school that does include capacity within the building that is not slated for middle school activities.
Yes.
And so in terms of some of the things that you brought forward, the location that you're looking at and spaces that we have existing that are also going to be looking for community engagement and support, I think that's another opportunity that would reduce the capital cost for your concept, as well as long-term operation, because you wouldn't be the sole operator on the site.
Thank you.
Back here.
I was just wondering what your timeline is.
Well, it depends. KCPS wanted to, I was ready for this proposal in February, and they've sort of extended it. So their timeline has changed, which means my timeline has changed. I'm ready to go. I'm ready to go now. The construction, we'd have to get bids, and then there'd be a rough timeline on that. 2 years probably.
Okay.
I'm just wondering if there would be any planned impact study for this neighborhood here, because it looks like a lot more traffic than what your
Of course,
parking
like
lot allows.
and
Noise is a factor too for along there if track meets in the morning, that sort of thing. So
I don't think there would be much noise increase in the morning. Runners are pretty quiet, to be honest. An event would be on the weekends, and this would not be like an event every weekend. It would be a special sort of situation.
We also have different events coming up, so I want to go ahead and get to a conclusion. I'm going to take 2 more questions, and then we're going to wrap up.
Have you done a formal needs assessment?
I would say No, not a formal needs, no.
We got one more question up here.
Yeah, so I applaud your vision. I think this is great. I'm not a runner, but I still think this is wonderful. My ask though, what is the actual concrete ask of this community? I mean, I suspect that there's a public engagement phase as it relates to the acquisition from the school district, but then also probably it will require some kind of use or zoning variance. Are you sort of setting the stage for those two things for community support?
Yes, we are.
Okay, got it.
Yeah,
Thanks.
thank you.
And we've
Anything
had
else?
a lot of different conversations about what could happen in Bingham, and so this is just another really great idea that's been brought forward, and we're just dedicated to making sure that the community is aware of all of the opportunities, since this property has been vacant for many, many years. So.
Partnership with the community, so maybe there would be like a very, very low cost for anybody who lives within the vicinity. That's very possible, and that's something that we can coordinate with the community. Absolutely.
Thank you guys so much for being here today.
Thank you for having
Stick
us.
around. So our speakers, please stick around. So if people have individual questions, they can get to. This is a lot of information today. Our community is we have a lot of momentum right now. We're feeling very unified. We're all very excited. Your board members, go ahead and raise your hand if you are here. That's you, Joe. Charlotte could be pretty much. So I just want to remind you guys that we're all volunteers. None of us are getting paid to do this. We are here because we care about our community, and we care about Waldo. We care about the quality of our lives and our livelihoods. And, it's just, we're called to do this for some crazy reason. We're called to a board meeting. We're called to the Neighborhood Leadership Summit of Kansas City. We're called to cohort. And so as we move forward as a neighborhood association, I would like to see you see yourselves in these roles. What would you do? How would you do it differently? What could you add? What would you divide? What would you subtract? What would you do to be impactful to your community if you had the opportunity? So just kind of think about that, because just by you being in this room today, you are acting as a neighborhood leader. A couple of different events we've got. We've got a big event coming up on May 27th. This is an RSVP event. We're working with Happy Bottoms to do some charity work, because that's the best of Kansas City community is Waldo, and we love to do our charity work. So that's May 27th. And then we've secured Chelly's, which we all love for their excellent margaritas and chips and salsa, on June 11th for our happy hour. So if you have questions about those, go to our website.
And May 20th, for those of you who are not up for running, we are starting a walking group on May 20th. It's going to meet for the first time up at Tower Park. So that's going to be walking with a focus on doing a little plogging, so cleaning up trash if you're into that, but you can also come walk. It's totally free. It's going to be starting Wednesdays at 6 p.m., Sundays at 9 a.m., and the first one is May 20th. So keep an eye on Facebook for updates about that.
And your board members will stick around too today for a little bit if you guys have questions for us.
I want to say something.
Yes, go ahead.
Oh, I just wanted to say, because I heard somebody say there were business owners in this room, and I would love for you to have a conversation with Frank.
Frank's your man.
We have welcome bags that we hand out to brand new people who move into the neighborhood, and we put stuff from businesses in the neighborhood in those bags. It helps bring awareness to your business. And we also have a discount card, although the spots on the discount card are limited at this point, but we're always talking to new businesses to see if we can add them to our discount card. Discount cards are part of the membership. Membership's just $25 a year, but you definitely save that in the use of the discount card, because it basically just gets some pizza at Waldo Pizza and you're good. And one last thing,
Sure.
Sorry.
No, go ahead.
I have brought lawn bags. If anybody needs lawn bags,
lawn
you
bags.
can take them with you.
So we have one more community announcement from a community member. This is my Uncle Ron.
I don't know if you're aware of this, but AT&T gave Adventures in Learning, which is normally a senior group that meets over in Keystone Church, a special part of their grant. But it's open to everybody. The next 2 weeks from 11 a.m. until 1, if you want to know anything about your computer, your laptop, your iPad, whatever it is, come over. They're going to have some demonstrations. They've got 4 or 5 people answer any questions They just say bring everything charged up, ready to go. I know the last week, which is in 2 weeks, for 1 hour, they're going to be talking about Android phones, which most people never get to talk about. So it's all free. It's part of AT&T. They have some experts over. So if you want to know anything more about what you can do or add to it, like I said, it's free. It's the next 2 Fridays.
Thank you, guys. Thank you so much for being here today. The best of Kansas City community, Waldo Tower. Thanks, guys.